What's up, guys? Andrew Fleming here, and welcome to Geek Space. Geek Space is a new section of the channel where I discuss pretty much anything you can geek out about. Books, movies, games, pretty much anything. And as you've probably noticed by now, Bryson is not here. This is my little domain I've been given lordship over. Bryson's working on his own little secret project. Hoped to be able to unveil that soon. But now that we've got all that out of the way, let's get into the content of today's video. Until this summer, I had never read any of the Harry Potter books. I mean, I knew what they were, I knew there were movies, but I had never really read them. And when I did read them this summer, I discovered that they were a fascinating read. So today we're going to go ahead and rank all the Harry Potter books from the worst to the best. And of course, this is just my opinion, and I actually welcome disagreement. Feel free to give me your list and your reasoning for your list in the comments down below. So let's jump right in 7th place, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now I want to just start off by saying I think all the Harry Potter books are great. There's not a one that I don't like. But as far as least enjoyable goes, that would have to be Chamber of Secrets. I just felt like it was kind of a slow, meandering tale. I mean, I appreciate what they did with Tom Riddle and the Basilisk and the bit of intrigue they brought in, J.K. Rowling brought in with the whole mystery of people getting petrified and whatnot. But it didn't really grab me. I didn't feel like the story was as compelling as the other books, and thus it sits at number 7. In number 6, we've got book number 1, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Now, I read all the books in the correct order, so this was my introduction to the wizarding world. And it certainly does an amazing job of setting up a fantastical world and setting up all the characters and giving us the setup for the way the whole franchise is going to unfold. It's definitely an origin story. And because it's an origin story, it lacks a lot of the beforehand knowledge that we have going into the other books. So it has to do a lot of exposition before we can get to the real meat of the story. So because of that, it's gonna have to be at number 6. In 5th place is the 5th book, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now, this is, I believe, the longest book. It's definitely an enjoyable read. It's one of those ones you don't want to put down. But I felt like it was a bit too convoluted. I had a difficult time understanding the sequence of events and really understanding how it all fit together. Now, the battle at the Department of Mysteries, that was spectacular. Really an enjoyable read, and I loved what they did with the death of Sirius Black. I mean, of course, heart-wrenching, but it really provides a good catalyst for some of Harry's character growth in the rest of the franchise. But it's just, I mean, it's a good book, it's there, it's an enjoyable read, but it just didn't really hit the punch that the top half of the list does, so it remains in 5th place. In 4th place, I've got Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. The 3rd book in the series, and it begins that gradual shift towards a darker tone that really takes place in the Goblet of Fire, as we'll see later. But I don't know, it was a little difficult to understand parts of it, particularly the scenes in the Shrieking Shack. Now, you've got Sirius Black there, you've got Remus Lupin coming in, you've got Snape coming in and getting knocked out, you've got the reveal of Scabbers as Peter Pettigrew, you've got all of this in the Shrieking Shack, and it just makes for a lot of information being conveyed in a very short period of time. I actually had to go back and read those chapters of the book again in order to understand the story and the whole connection. I think it was absolutely brilliant what happened with Sirius Black being revealed as the good guy at the end of the story after all this time of us assuming he's out to get Harry. The reveal that he's actually a kindly godfather to Harry is just amazing, and I love what they did with Sirius's character going forward. But I feel like a lot of the books up until about book 5 have a big exposition dump from the villain at the end of the book. But I felt like this, out of all the exposition dumps, was the hardest to understand, and so it's going to have to sit at number 4. Now, before I go ahead and give you my top 3, please remember to give me your own rankings and your own opinions on the Harry Potter books in the comments. A nice, fun, friendly discussion. And if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more Geek Space content in the future. And with that out of the way, let's get to the top 3. Kicking it off with, in third place, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Book number 4, the real turn towards the darker side of Harry Potter. Obviously, you've got Cedric Diggory's death, which is not only really impactful, but really just sets the tone for the rest of the books. You've got Voldemort in the flesh, in his own body, doing things, tearing things up, and it's really a refresher to get to see that. I also really liked the kind of tournament aspect of it. While I love Quidditch, this just felt like a nice breath of fresh air, something new, something different, and I really enjoyed getting the opportunity to see that kind of unfold. It was a great book. I don't think I've really got any complaints, especially loved the reveal of Barty Crouch Jr. having been disguised as Mad-Eye the whole school year. I don't really think I have any complaints. There's nothing wrong with this book. It just wasn't quite as good as my top 2. So in second place, I've got Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And for anybody who's just watched the movies, I understand that this is kind of seen as the black sheep of the Harry Potter books, but the book itself is a masterpiece. It's really just incredible the way they kind of unfold the Half-Blood Prince and how you see the book and how the spells within it really just tempt Harry to tap into his darker side, kind of that little piece of Voldemort that's in him and his desire to keep getting the power and knowledge that the Half-Blood Prince's potions book provides. And it's also really interesting. This is the book where, of course, all the romance in the series kind of comes to a head. And I think Rowling does an excellent job just really writing it as though she were Harry. Really writing it so that you believe Harry is experiencing these emotions and trying to understand them and grappling with them. And it just makes it relatable. So it's really just a masterpiece of a read that really draws you in. It's like a warm blanket you can snuggle in. It's a very comforting, good read. But not the best book. That honor is reserved for, and no surprise, Number 1, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. The finish out to the series, the conclusion of everything that was built up towards for 6 books, and it is epic. I could reread the section about the Battle of Hogwarts again and again and again. It's just the way they unfold it with the reveals about the Deathly Hallows and the invisibility cloak and the Horcruxes and the way they make Voldemort's name something that's been avoided throughout the series. They make it a taboo that allows enemies of Voldemort to be tracked down. It's just really interesting all the different plot points Rowling is able to bring together in such a coherent way. And then it's really interesting you get to see great character growth, like Ron when he leaves Harry and Hermione and then comes back, and you really get to understand the sheer terror he's experiencing and how between that and him wearing the Horcrux, he's just not expressing it in the best way. So, and then the final fight with Voldemort and getting to understand all of that, and of course the scene where Harry's in the kind of afterlife with Dumbledore. It's just, it all wraps together for a really satisfying conclusion to an amazing series. So that's it. That's all 7 of the Harry Potter books ranked. Don't forget to leave me your own ranking and your own thoughts on the Harry Potter books in the comments down below. And comment, let me know what I should rank next for Geek Space. Should I keep on the Harry Potter trend, maybe rank the characters or the movies, or should I move on to something else, like the MCU or the DCEU? Be sure to let me know and keep tuned in for more fun Geek Space content in the days ahead. Adios!